Okay, come on. Salakia, we back. We ran out of battery juice, but we back. So we what I was going into was in Devil's Advocate, it was a progression of how Keanu started out as a regular church-going lawyer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then once he got into that realm, you know what I'm saying? He started to progress and grow in that industry. He was a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? And what was happening is he would feel the presence of the demons.
Yep.
And it progressed to where he could actually literally see them on people. You know what I'm saying? And we going through that same thing just on the right-hand side, through righteousness. We know how to deal with the demons through the spirit. You know? So let's go back to what we was reading.
Wisdom of Solomon 17.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17, verse 4, it says, "For neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noise as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenance."
That's what I'm saying, man. When the Lord plagued your mind, see, he was plaguing their mind, he was plaguing them physically. You see? And he was breaking down their whole system, just like he's doing now, man. It's only gonna get worse and worse and worse.
Right.
You see, the progression of the plagues is the Lord cranking it up and showing you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just like when you watching a fight. When you watching a fight and you start to see one fighter take over the fight and start to dominate and start to crush the will of the other person. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Lord is doing to his enemies, man.
That's right.
Progression.
That's right, bro. That's
You was
right.
gonna say something?
Yeah, Khan, can you read that part about the sad countenance one more time?
It says,
Yeah, these are plagues in Egypt, but since America is likened to Egypt, we're going into the plagues. All this stuff is going to come to pass again, man,
Right.
on a more grander scale.
Yep.
Because there's going to come a time that these elites and everyday people will be like, hey, man, this got to be from the Most High.
Yeah, that's
There's
right.
going to come a time
That's
where
right,
be like, man, this got to be a divine intervention, man. I mean,
That's right.
divine power to bring this.
That's right, and we ain't looking for Esau to let us go, man. We already understand that there's a main deliverance that the Heavenly Father has exclusively made for an exclusive bunch of people who we had already chosen and predestined to be saved in a dramatic fashion, man.
Right.
Wisdom of Solomon 17 and 4. "For neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenance."
Y'all ever seen The Grudge, man? Y'all ever seen The Ring?
That's crazy, yeah.
Y'all ever seen that? You see what that bitch looked like when she crawled out that TV?
Yeah.
That long black
A long
hair
hair, yeah.
moving down. I'm gonna say this, man. It's a reason why when you watch those movies, they look the same. Both of them demons look the same, man. Reason being because that's a real spirit that they put on there, man. And of course they mock it because it's a movie. But they put all this stuff in these different movies. The movie Cabin in the Woods. The same exact thing, man. These are actually real energies that exist, that Esau knows exist, and they put it in these movies for you to fear. These are the same entities, very similar entities that are going to be made manifest when that time comes. You read about it in they brought it up earlier in Psalm 78, where when it how the Lord has sent evil angels to plague them and come unto them. All this stuff is going to be made manifest. Just like in Egypt, as we read it, it's going to happen again.
Right.
You're going to see that a chick that looked like the chick from The Ring. You're going to see all type of manner of crazy bug-out things that you only thought existed in the movies, man. Just wait. It's the reason why he's called the King of Terrors.
That's right.
You know?
See verse 5, it says, "No power of the fire might give them light, neither could the bright flame of the stars endure a lighting that horrible night."
Bro, that's how dark it was.
Man.
You could light a match, or you could light a fire, and you still couldn't see.
Bro. Man.
And you still couldn't see.
Amazing.
Talking about darkness just sitting on you.
It's a smothered the match.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, yeah.
Goodness, man.
All right, let's go back.
Gone. This is Exodus chapter 10, jumping back down to verse 21. "And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, and there may be darkness."
That's what I'm saying. The Lord. That's what I'm saying. The Lord is having us stretch out our hands over this place, man. Because it's talking about in the scriptures where it's talking about men raining down fire. That's talking about on this side.
Right. Right. That's right.
Go ahead.
Gone. It says, even darkness was made filled. And Moses stretched with his hand toward heaven, and there was a big darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days.
That's what I'm saying, man. When you do when you obedient to the Heavenly Father, man, He'll open you up. You know what I'm saying? He opened up because you got to keep in mind when you think about it, man. Moses and Aaron was pretty much having a battle with the witches
The Magi they
of
had,
Egypt, man.
yeah.
Of the Magi they had. When they had the battle with the staff,
And
you know
the
what I'm
locusts. I mean the frogs, because the frogs came from the Most High. They brought frogs too.
you know?
Couldn't win though.
Go ahead.
Con. It says, then saw not one another, neither rose any of them. I'm sorry. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings.
That's what I'm saying, man. So
That's
you got darkness that heavy. You got darkness that heavy, but then our people can see.
That's right, man.
Bro, can you imagine? Bro, just think about that. If you was an Egyptian and I'm an Israelite, we standing right next to each other. I got all this.
Yeah.
And you over there just,
Yeah, that's right.
Can't even see the lights.
you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
King of terrorists. You see? Allah shot you.
Man.
That's right, man.
Yahweh.
That's right. Hey, that's why it's important for us to make the Lord our confidence.
That's right.
Because as we're going into these plagues, we're going into these plagues because this is something that's going to fall upon this place, man.
Right.
All right, so it's important that you have the Lord as your covering, knowing that he has coronavirus being brought forth, locusts being brought forth. Many horrible plagues that take place. And Job 5 talks about it. He says, there shall no evil touch thee in that day, man.
Right.
And that's talking about today. But that's if you make the Lord your confidence, if you believe that the Spirit's dealing with you.
Right.
And we trust and believe, Lord, will we those men. Okay, I want to say that first. But if we continue doing what we're doing, the Lord definitely has that standard he's going to set, and he's going to keep us protected when that time comes. Remember, we being encamped around by angels as well, man.
That's right.
As you had them demons that was making themselves manifest to them Egyptians, we had light upon us, man.
Right.
And those angels helped give us that light.
Yep,
You know?
man. Yep. Right.
They helped provide, aided in the providing of that light. You know? This is Exodus chapter 10, verse 24. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, Go ye serve the Lord, only let your flocks and your herds be stayed.
That's what I'm saying. But you see, man, just go, man. Because the first time he was like, well, you can go, but what you trying to take with you, man?
Yeah.
What you trying to take?
Right,
I
right.
don't mind y'all going, but what you trying to take? And then Moses gave him a list of what he wanted to take. You know what I'm saying? Now, he like, y'all can go, but y'all got to leave y'all separate.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's right. It says, let your little ones also go with you. And Moses said, Thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice unto the Lord our God.
That's what I'm saying. You telling me I got to leave my flock behind. I'm telling you I got to sacrifice that to the Lord.
That's
So
right.
that ain't going to work.
That's right. That's right.
That ain't going to work.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Hey, and that shows you as well that Pharaoh was being hard-hearted, man, because in the previous verses, after the locusts, he said you can go and have your feast unto the Lord.
Yeah.
You know, and Moses like, how we gonna have our feast unto the Lord when you ain't giving us the things to slaughter to have his feast?
Yep. And what Esau do? He tell you got freedom of speech, but if you say the wrong thing, you get crucified, man.
That's right. That's right.
Snoop Dogg have freedom of speech, right?
I'm sorry. I should have been saying that.
All these people got freedom of speech, but you always gotta apologize for whatever you say.
That's right. That's right.
You know, they got all these bars. But they tell you don't drink and drive. You know,
That's right.
just doing shit. You know, we'll help you. We'll help you get back on your feet, but you got to get rid of your husband. Unrighteous decrees, man.
That's it. That's
Go,
it, man.
go ahead. And that's what's bringing forth these plagues.
Right. Verse 26, our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not an hoof be left behind.
I was saying, we ain't leaving you nothing, man.
Oh.
Nah, you done already had us in slavery for 400 years, man. And you still want more? No. The Lord told me to tell you to let my people go.
That's it.
And everything that hey, we ain't leaving you shit, Pippin.
That's right. That's right. Not a damn now, not a.
Go ahead.
It says, for therefore must we take to serve the Lord our God, and we know not with what we must serve the Lord until we come thither.
That's what I'm saying, man. I was saying, how we don't even know what we're going to have to sacrifice to the Lord. But you talking about leave something behind.
Right.
Nah, man. We don't even know what the sacrifice to the Lord going to be, so we can't give you shit. Go ahead.
Con. Well, I'm just trying to jump down to the next plague.
That's what's up.
Because the whole chapter 11 just goes into a foreshadowing of what's to come. You know, matter of fact, I'll start at verse 3. 11 and 3. Exodus 11 and 3. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, whereof the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. And And Moses said, thus saith the Lord, about midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die. And the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even the firstborn of the maidservant, and this Salaki that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beasts.
Right.
And there shall be a great cry throughout the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it anymore.
Okay, so we done went through hell. We done went through locusts. Right?
I got one.
Hey,
All right, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like you read, it was a great cry in Egypt, man. It's gonna, hey, we in Egypt, man. Spiritual Egypt, man. It's gonna be a great cry in this place like never before, man. Because it's like the scriptures say, man. This virgin daughter, man. It never went through anything like what's coming, man. You know.
That's right. And when a virgin's cherry gets popped, she's gonna do a lot of screaming, man. She's gonna howl. That's why the scriptures talk about howling for Babylon in that day. Jeremiah talks about that howling. They're gonna howl in that day, man. There's gonna be a lot of crying. Hey, Yahushua clarifies it as weeping and gnashing of teeth. And there's gonna be a lot of that going on in that day.
That's right. They were even starving them out. Exodus 8:1. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh, and said unto him, thus saith the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. And the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house, into thy bedchambers, and upon thy bed, and into the house of thy servants.
But that's what, see, it started out with the darkness. You know what I'm saying? Then you had the locusts. You know what I'm saying? And you see the progression? You know what I'm saying? Now it's all in your house. You got frogs all in your house. You got frogs all over the place. It's starting to get very uncomfortable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know? Go ahead.
And upon thy people, and until thine, it said, and upon thy people, and until thine ovens, and until thy kneading trough. The frogs were so heavy, it said the frogs enter into their ovens. So
Yeah.
now how you gonna eat? The locusts ate the herbs of the field.
Yeah.
Now you got any kind of meat, you can't cook. Now the frogs is in the oven.
Man.
And the frogs shall come up, and the frogs,
Put your stove, big ass thing. Damn.
and the frogs shall come up both on thee and upon thy people and upon all thy servants. And the Lord spake unto Moses, said unto Aaron, stretch forth.
But you see how Moses and Aaron, they telling them everything that's going to happen before it happened?
Right.
We telling them the plagues coming. The plagues are coming, man. We telling you what they going to be. Go ahead.
Stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over thy streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt.
That's what I'm saying. It caused the frogs to come on Egypt. All the frogs in the world was in Egypt.
And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters
That's
of
what I'm
Egypt.
saying. So Moses and Aaron, they taking turns. Go ahead.
And the frogs come up and cover the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt.
That's what I'm saying. They did theirs too. So you got right hand energy and left hand energy. A battle that's been going on since the beginning. Go ahead.
Then Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron and said, entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may do sacrifice unto the Lord.
That's what I'm saying. But you see, every time the Lord show his power, Pharaoh be like, shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's the Lord that's hardening his heart. Why? Because he's gonna show his power. The more opportunities he had to show his power, he was lighting him up. You know? Go ahead.
What's another plague? Exodus 9:1. Then the Lord said unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh and tell him, thus saith the Lord of the Lord power of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For if they refuse to let them go and would hold them still, behold, the hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, and upon oxen, and upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous murrain.
Turn that economy straight down. Destroying the economy.
Right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? The food supply, everything's being destroyed. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall cover between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt. And the Lord shall sever, like cut, between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt.
That's what I say. All their
All
cattle
right.
died. All our cattle live.
And there shall nothing.
Now I want to say, when he read what you just said, it remind me of Psalms 91, man. You know what I mean? How all this stuff gonna be happening, but unto the man of the Lord, it ain't gonna come near us, man.
right.
You know?
That's right. Hey, even Yahushua said, "They shall sorrow, but we shall be in joy."
Done.
That's in John, I believe, what, John 21? You know, he says they gonna sorrow, we gonna be good. That's, hey, the same. Hey, this is repetitive, man. You know, the Lord that did it before, he's gonna do it again in a very even more mighty fashion. Because the time is so much greater. They only sorrowed in Egypt back then. Egypt wasn't as big as America, man. Even though this is modern day Egypt now, but America is likened to Egypt, Babylon, Rome, Assyria, all these for a reason, man. Because it embodies all of that. Right. So it's going to be a lot more even greater here than back then, man. So it's going to be a lot of sorrow, a lot of darkness, a lot of plagues. And for us, it's going to be a lot of joy. Lord willing, we those
Servants shall eat.
You know, that's right.
And there shall nothing die of all that is the children of Israel.
That's right, man.
Go ahead. Yeah. There with the moraine, you got the boils.
Yeah, let's get the
let's
boil.
get it.
Yeah.
The boils,
Yeah, let's get the boil.
Hey, we got to tell these people what's coming to a theater near them.
I'm telling you, man.
Hey, it's going to get ugly out here.
I'm jump to verse 8. Verse 8, Exodus 9 and 8. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, take you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it towards the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh. So now he get, oh man, do it in front of Pharaoh. Get that? He's like, what the hell? They doing the ashes in the air? They crazy. All right.
And ashes are symbolic for mourning.
Yep.
You know, he was letting them know to his face, you think you're mourning now, it's going to get a lot worse.
Woo. And it shall be, and verse 9, and it shall become small dust in all the land of Egypt. It shall be a boil breaking forth with flames upon man and upon beast throughout all the land of Egypt.
Bro, the man and beast covered in boils.
Boil.
Everybody.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know? I don't know if you ever had a boil before.
Man, bro.
But yeah, you had one. That mother had you in a whole lot of pain. But you
Right.
covered in them shits?
That's right. That's right.
Man, go ahead.
And
And they disgusted too, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Filled
bro.
with pus,
Oh man, bro.
all of that shit, man.
Yeah, man. Covered in them?
Man, like you got one thing to consider. These were mass amounts of animals that was dying, stink in the air. We already went into you already read the frogs, didn't you? Or the frogs already took place. And frogs, so what did they do? When they touch you, you get warts. So the air was even, excuse my French, but it was toxic as hell, even breathing that air in, man.
Right.
So you damn straight the Lord sent that plague of boils to these people, man. All they're inhaling is virus and disease.
Yep.
You know? And what?
Infection.
Infection, that's right, man.
And the Magi could not stand before Moses because of the boils.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Bubbled up.
Yeah.
Since they want to try to
toe.
do that, call that little demon to, oh, we can do the same thing too. You can't even do shit.
Man, get them balls off your ass. Nope.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead.
Boil booty ass. And then, no, I'm playing. I'm playing.
And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boil was upon magicians and upon all the Egyptians.
All
Man,
the Egyptians.
Everybody.
Wow. Another, I think that's
I
You
got
got
one
the
right
water.
here.
You got
okay.
the one with the water turn to blood.
Yep, there's another plague right here.
And then we can get the firstborn when he killed all the bastards.
God. This is Exodus chapter 7, verse 17. Thus saith the Lord, in this thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that are in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Egyptians shall loathe to drink of the water of the river.
Man.
Ain't that something, man?
Man.
Hey, one thing to consider even about those waters in Egypt, back then before all this had taken place, they would look at these particular things like the cattle. They would look at the cattle as gods. They would look at the Nile River as a god within itself. They said by the way the sun's rays reflect off of it, it looked like it gave life. So they considered that even being a deity. So the Lord had touched everything that they worshiped pretty much and crashed it down, showing that he's the true God, man.
Right.
He turned that water into blood. He caused the fish to die, man. Showing that he's the true God. All that stuff is beautiful in the glory that he made it for, but he's the true God. And all these people today look at so many things being God. Esau himself look at himself being a God. Whatever people put first, starting with you Jakes, all right, before the Most High, you look at it as a God. And that's going to be a gin and a snare unto you, and it's going to have you entangled to the point where it's not going to be able to save you in that day. But the Lord ain't going to be able to save you in that day neither, because you wasn't looking for the Lord. So you're going to be entangled and entrapped in those snares that you call gods, and they're going to be plagues unto you, man. You know?
That's right.
That was it on that plague right there.
Right. You got the firstborn.
Exodus 11:1. And the Lord said unto Moses, Yet will I bring one plague more upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. Afterwards he will let you go hence. When he shall leave you, when he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out hence altogether.
Man.
Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor, to my Israel, and every woman of his neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold. And the Lord power gave his people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man, Moses, was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people.
God.
And Moses said, Thus said the Lord, about midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die. For the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill.
It went from annoying to uncomfortable to unbearable.
Real talk.
Go ahead.
And all the firstborn of beasts. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was like none, nor shall be like any more.
That's what I'm saying, man. When the Lord show his power, man, everybody gonna feel it. Everybody gonna see it. Everybody gonna bow down, man. You know? Y'all got any other precepts that y'all wanted to get out? You know what I'm saying? Because them plagues, man, we in the time of those plagues, man. You see? Mass death. Matter of fact, get measure the time diligently.
Okay.
Yeah, we can finish on that.
Second Ezra 7:1. 9:1.
Yeah.
This is Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me and said, "Oh, I got to start the previous chapter, the last verse." Yeah, because for the audience, remember these weren't broken down in chapter format. These were scrolls, so they were ongoing. Okay. But this is Second Ezra chapter 8. I'm gonna start at verse 62. It says, "These things have I not shown unto all men, but unto thee and few like thee. Then answered I and said, Behold, O Lord, now hast thou showed me the multitude of the wonders which thou will begin to do in the last times, but at what time thou hast not showed me." All right, and we going into the wonders and the plagues and the miracles that the Lord did before. We've been given an insight because we are the circle and the friends of the Lord. So we've been given the insight to know what's going to come to pass. So now he's saying, what time shall we expect it? And Ezra's asking that question, what, 2,500 years ago? So now we're in that time appointed where it is promised and destined to take place. Chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then said, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the time, the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made."
Yep. That's the time we're in, man. You see? And the prophets are standing on the watch and letting you know. Because through all this stuff that's going on, man, the prophets is telling you that it's happening.
That's right.
They telling you what's going on. That's why the scriptures talk about how when the famine of the word comes, people really going to lose their mind. You see?
That's right. That's right, man. You going?
Yeah, you said something about the famine of the word.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we can hit it on that.
Okay, cool.
You got a little more on that then?
That was the main point, you know.
Yeah,
the
we
whole
can
chapter
hit it.
goes in.
We ain't dealing with that much battery.
Right.
Just had 2 parts.
Real quick.
Verse 72.
3 hours later.
This ain't gonna be the family of the world, right?
God.
This is Ezekiel 3:26. "And I will make thy tongue cleave into the roof of thy mouth, that thou shalt be dumb and shalt not be to them a reprover."
I would say dumb meaning can't speak.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what dumb used to mean back in the day before they changed it up in their devilry.
Right.
Yeah, they call it
New speak.
Exactly. But when I, verse 26, and I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, that thou shalt be dumb, and shalt not be to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Lord say, you know what, y'all wasn't listening to him no way. So you wasn't listening to him then, so don't worry about it now. You know?
That's right, bro. That was it.
So with that, we want to give all praises to Yahweh,
Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rakakodash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the Akim. Teach about the Maya Mouth, that's in sincerity and truth. Shalom.
Shalom.